Hi, everybody. I'm Mr. Vallejo. Welcome to biology class. Today I'll be showing you how to work these practice genetics problems. So let's go straight to the screen. And here we go, practice genetics problems. These problems actually are from a website called biologycorner.com. If you would like even more practice after doing these, you're welcome to go there and check out what they have. So we have 11 problems to do today. Before we get started, let's remind you how to solve a genetics problem. When you want to determine genetics problem answers, what you got to do is the D stands for dominant recessive. You got to figure out what's dominant and what's recessive. What alleles are dominant for that particular trait or characteristic, and what form of that characteristic is recessive. That's a D in determine. Genetics is G. G, what you need to do after that is figure out the genotype. Specifically, figure out the genotypes of the parents. Determine the phenotype, then the genotype of the parents. Remember, the phenotype is the outward appearance, or the more properly, the expressed trait. And then the genotype is the two-letter combination of, of alleles or forms of the gene. You can have two copies of the same allele. Those can be dominant, as in big A, or they can be recessive, as in little a, or you can have a heterozygous genotype, or a hybrid or a carrier, which is big A, little a. All right, so we determine genetics problems answers by figuring out what's dominant and what's recessive, figuring out the genotype. The P reminds me to do a Punnett square, complete the Punnett square, and we'll do plenty of those today. And then the fourth one is actually answer the question that is used. Answer the question, use the information in your Punnett square and that's given in the problem to answer the specific question. If someone asks you what color is the sky, then the answer is blue, isn't it? But if if I give you the physics answer that the color of the sky is determined by the light waves hitting the molecules of air and dispersing, and that is seen to us or seen by us as different colors, that doesn't answer the question. The question was, what color is the sky? And the sky is blue. So answer the question that's actually asked. Sometimes you don't even have to do the Punnett square, as you'll see in today's problems. Let's go to the first one. First one says, a big T plant is crossed with a little t uh, plant. That is a short plant. Big T is tall. What percentage of the offspring will be tall? Remember, these are probabilities. This is not a, if you have 4 kids, you're in, one of them is going to be this. It's a probability for each and every uh, separate uh, uh, possibility. Okay, so let's take a look. First, you got to figure out what's dominant, what's recessive. From the question, it is given uh, that the tall plant is big T. So we know that we're going to represent uh, the the allele uh, big T is tall. In the problem, they tell you that the homozygous recessive little t is a short plant. So we're going to say that the little t is for short, big T is dominant, little t is recessive. Then we figure out the genotypes. And the genotypes of the parents are given as big T, and little t. That's directly from the problem. So now we can do the Punnett square. So take one of the parents and put them on the top. The gametes would go on the top like this, big T and big T. And then the gametes for the other parent would go on the side like this, little t. And then we complete the 4 squares by bringing this T across and bringing this T down like this. Now, if you have one dominant and one recessive, then it is by convention that we put the capital letter first, the dominant will come first. So we have the same situation in the second, third, and fourth boxes. So we can see that all of these are going to be the same genotype at big T, little t. That wasn't the question, though. The question was, what percentage of the offspring will be tall? So all of these will be tall. So the answer is 100%. Who got that right? I hope you did. All right, a big T, little t plant is crossed with a big T, little t plant. What percentage of the offspring will be short? Some of you can get this right away because this is a classic mono hybrid cross. So if we run that mono hybrid cross, you should know that you have a 1-to-1 uh, ratio for the genotype and a 3-to-1 ratio for the phenotype. So what percentage of the offspring will be short? Some of you already know the answer, but let's go ahead and work the problem out. We see that big T is tall and little t is short. That is from the previous question. And so there are our possible genotypes and what they would look like. We already know the parents are going to both be heterozygotes. So this is, again, a mono hybrid cross, a monohybrid cross with a 1-to-1 genotypic ratio and a 3-to-1 phenotypic ratio. So the percentage of offspring that will be short is going to be 3-to-1, but or it's a 3-to-1 ratio, but the percentage is 25%. Let's see how. This one here, this box is big T, big T. The next two boxes are big T, little t, so they're heterozygotes. And on the last one, that one right there is your homozygous recessive. That one will be short. You have 25 out of 25. Excuse me. So let us take a look at, and you can see here that the answer is 25%. So that's 25% for number 2. Who got that right? Anybody? Okay. There's number 3. Number 3, a heterozygous round-seeded plant, the big R, little r, is crossed with the homozygous round-seeded plant. That's big R, big R. So we already know what the genotypes of the parents are. What percentage of the offspring will be homozygous? Big R, big R. Remember, you can be homozygous little r, but this question specifically asks for the homozygous dominant. So what's dominant? Big R is round, as we can see from the beginning of the questions. It's a heterozygous round, so we know that round is dominant over the recessive trait. It doesn't tell you that the recessive trait is actually wrinkled. So if you get a little r, that is a wrinkled P. Historically, this is what Mendel worked with. So we take our parents, which are big R, and big R, which are straight from the question, and we put the one parent's gametes on the top and the second parent on the side like that. And then we complete our Punnett squares by bringing across and down, big R, big R, big R, little r, big R, big R, and big R, little r. So what was the question again? The question was, what percentage of the offspring will be homozygous big R, big R? And you can see the 2 on the left are, and there's 4 boxes, so that's 2 out of 4. So it's a percentage. 2 out of 4 is 50%. Great, that's number 3. Number 4, a homozygous round-seeded plant is crossed with a homozygous wrinkled-seeded plant. What are the genotypes of the parents? Well, a homozygous round, homozygous tells us the 2 letters in the genotype are the same. We know it's round, so we know that one is big R, big R. Okay, so there's the big R, big R. And then back to the question, is crossed with a homozygous wrinkled seeded plant. So it's wrinkled, it's homozygous, wrinkled is a recessive trait. So that is little r, and that is the answer to the question. So we can complete the Punnett square, but we already have the answer, which is big R, and little r. So those are the genotypes of the parents. That's question number 4. Question number 5, what percentage of the offspring will also be homozygous? Well, if we take a look at the Punnett square that we've already completed, are any of these homozygous? and I don't see any homozygotes. So that is 0%. Okay, number 5, in pea plants, purple flowers are dominant to white flowers. If two white flowered plants are crossed, what percentage of their offspring will be white flowered? So we have two white flowered plants, and we want to know a percentage. That's straight from the question. We haven't even done anything yet. So our first step, what's dominant, what's recessive? Big P is purple and little p is white. How do we know that? It says here, purple is dominant to white. So white is recessive. And so we assign white the small letter, and purple flowers are dominant. So we assign that a large letter. We select the P for the purple characteristic. It was not clear what letter you should use. Generally use the letter A. In this case, we're going to say purple, for purple will give us the letter P to work with. So what's the genotypes of the parents? Well, the genotypes of the parents are both little p, little p. How do we know that? If two white flowered plants are crossed, so white is recessive, you have little p, little p. So the square is actually like this, little p, little p, little p, little p, and all four possibilities are little p. What was the question? The percentage of their offspring will be white flowered, and of course, with all of them being little p, the answer is 100%. Great. Let's go to the next one. Okay, question number 6. On question number 6, what we have is a white flowered plant is crossed with a plant that is heterozygous for the trait. That is to say, the flower color trait. What percentage of the offspring will have purple flowers? So the letters and dominant and recessive are the same as in the previous questions. Okay, so we know that big P is purple and little p is white. And for this particular question, we see that the parents are going to be a white flowered plant, which is little p, but a plant that is heterozygous, hetero, different, big P, little p. So there's the genotypes of the parents. So we can put those genotypes of the gametes on the top and the side, and then complete our Punnett square. So we have big P, big P, little p. Then the two bottom ones are little p, and little p, little p. In order to show purple, because it's dominant, you only need to have one capital P. So the two on the top have are both heterozygotes at big P, little p. So the question is, what percentage of the offspring will have purple flowers? And as you can see, that is 50%. That's number 6. Anybody have all 6 right so far? Okay, hope so. Number 7, two plants, both heterozygous for the gene that controls flower color or cross. What percentage of their offspring will have purple flowers? What percentage will have white flowers? All right, so both heterozygous for the gene. And so this has the same letter designation as the previous questions. We know that both parents are heterozygous. That makes this a classic monohybrid cross again. So you should automatically know that's 3-to-1 phenotypic ratio and a 1-to-1 genotypic ratio, which should give you the answers, which are 3-to-1, which is 75%, and 25%. But let's work that out. They're the parents on the top and the side. We complete this. We have big P, big P, big P, little p, big P, little p, little p, little p. So what the percentage of their offspring will have purple flowers, the dominant trait? 3 out of 4 boxes right there at 75%. And then what percentage will have white flowers? Only that last box in the bottom right. So that's 25%. That's number 7. Alrighty, number 8. In guinea pigs, the allele for short hair is dominant. What genotype would a heterozygous short-haired guinea pig have? So if short hair is dominant, and this is atypical. This is showing the what you might consider the short. You might think short hair is a recessive trait. It's not in this case. In this case, short hair is dominant. That means long hair is recessive. So what genotype would a heterozygous short-haired guinea pig have? It's heterozygous, then we know that we know that it has one of each letter. So we're going to use the letter H for short hair. And so that's going to be big H, little h for the heterozygote. Um, what genotype would a pure breeding short haired guinea pig have? Short is dominant, so that's going to be big H, big H. And we know that the same letters are going to show in the genotype because it's pure breeding, which is the same as homozygous. And what genotype would a long-haired guinea pig have? A long-haired guinea pig would be little p, or little h for hair. And so we can do all of that without even doing the Punnett square. But if we take a look at this question is a continuation of question number 8. Show the cross for a pure breeding short-haired guinea pig and a long-haired guinea pig. What percentage of the offspring will have short hair? So you have a pure breeding short hair, which is big H, and a long-haired guinea pig, which is little h, little h. Now, how do they do that? Well, if you take a look at the description, pure breeding, homozygous, same letter, short-haired, it's dominant. That's why it's big H, big H. And a long-haired guinea pig, that's a recessive trait. So it's got to be little h, little h. Hopefully you can see right away that all the kids are going to be big H, little h. And so the question is, what percentage of the offspring will have short hair? Well, guess what? They all do, because they all have at least one big H. So that's 100% for number 9. Number 10, show the cross for 2 heterozygous guinea pigs. So this again is a monohybrid cross. And so without even doing a Punnett square, you might be able to get the answer from what you know about ratios. Remember, the genotypic ratios is 1:1, and the phenotypic ratio is 3:1. So knowing that, do you know the answer? Let's see if you're right. Same information as before for letter designations and dominant recessive. Big H, little h. Big H is for short hair, little h is for long hair. We know that the parents are heterozygous, so they are big H, little h, both of them. And then we have the classic monohybrid cross, dominant recessive, and recessive. So now we can answer the question, what percentage of the offspring will have short hair? Well, 3 out of 4, this one and these two. That's 3 out of 4, which is 75%. And then we have what percentage of the offspring will have long hair? Just that guy right there. Oh, and there's an error on my PowerPoint. That should be little h, but you'll disregard that. That is the one that is 25%. So change that on your paper. And then the last one, 2 short-haired guinea pigs are mated several times. Out of 100 offspring, 25 of them have long hair. What are the probable genotypes of the parents? All right. Now, if the numbers were different and it was 1 out of 100, 26 would have long hair, or 24 would have long hair, the answer would still be the same. But let's take a look at how we got this. Same designations as before for dominant recessive. Also, we have 2 short-haired guinea pigs, so we know they have at least one big H. But there are 100 total. There's 25 long hair. That means there's a total of 75 that have short hair. Because if 25 have long hair, 100 minus 25 have short hair. And so we don't know what the genotype is, but we know the phenotype, and 75 of them have short hair. So the ratio, the phenotypic ratio that we know is 3:1. But for short, long, this is 75 to 25. And if you take that mathematically and divide both of those by the lowest number, the lower of the two number, so divide both of these by 25, you're going to get 3:1. So what do we remember? It's having a 3:1 ratio. Well, what we know is that when we do this cross, that a 3:1 ratio is what we expect when we have a classic monohybrid cross. So that is what's shown on your screen right there. So we can say even this is a hypothetical situation, 25 out of 100. Those are perfect numbers. Like I was saying earlier, 26, 27, 24, 23. If you had those numbers, you would probably assume it was because it was very close to 3:1. You would assume that the probable genotypes of the parents are big H, little h, and big H, little h. All right. How many of you got all 11 of those right? Woo! It's good. You're well on your way to mastering genetics problems. You need more practice. Go to that website. Um, the more you practice, the better you'll do on these genetics problems when they come up on your next assessment. All right. I'm Mr. Vallejo. Now you know how to do genetics problems. Have a great day. Thanks for coming to biology class. See you later.